Mission granted.
14th of September, Rabbi Levitt, Nehemia.
Okay, Nehemia. Let's see here. Oh yeah, we looked up the Gemara in Kedushin.
Right.
All these names. The Chazal darshaned all these names. Okay, so so we're up to still up to Samach Gimel.
Samach Gimel. Umi
Samach Gimel.
HaKohanim B'nai Chavayah B'nai HaKotz B'nai Barzilai Asher Lakach Mibenos Barzilai Hagiladi Isha Vayikare al Shemam. Okay, so that's Samach Gimel 63. Let's see. Of the Kohanim, the children of Havayah, the children of Hakaz, the children of Barzillai, who took wives from the daughters of Barzillai of Gilad and were called by their name. So let's see, who took wives from the daughters of Barzillai of Gilad. This family of Kohanim were known as the children of Barzillai of Gilead, because their ancestors had married a daughter of Barzillai and then assumed his family name, according to Mitsudos.
Hmm. Didn't we already have the listings of the Kohanim though?
I thought we did, yeah.
Oh, I see in Pasuk Lamites. Okay. And now we have a second listing.
Right.
Oh, but it doesn't. Okay, doesn't yet tell us how many there was. Doesn't make any count.
It looks like there's going to be a discussion of their genealogy.
Okay.
Ela
Oh,
bikshu chesavam hamisyach sim velo nimtza v'goalu min hakehuna. These sought their genealogical record, but it could not be found. So they were disqualified from the priesthood. These sought their genealogical record, but it could not be found. These Kohanim searched for some record of their names in the genealogical tables, but none was found, according to Mitsudos. So they were disqualified from the priesthood. This translation follows Rashi on Ezra. Mitsudos translates they were found repugnant for the priesthood, substituting the root Gaal, repugnant, for Gaal, to ban. One has an I and the other has an Aleph.
hmm.
Morning, Rabbi Levitt. Good morning,
Good morning, Roy.
Morning, Roy. How are you?
Baruch Hashem.
We're on
Yeah, I've got it.
Okay,
Thank you.
so first,
I think I've got it.
so these Kohanim, so now we understand why they're listed separately.
right.
We're calling them Kohanim because they claimed that they were, I guess, but they couldn't prove their record of genealogical descent, so they were disqualified. What exactly does it mean that they were found repugnant? And that doesn't really sound like what we just got through saying. We just got through saying they simply weren't able to prove their genealogical descent. Okay, so
Right.
that's not repugnant. Um, okay, I don't know. It's repugnant that they can't prove their status as being Kohanim. Okay, not much explanation over here. Okay, so we'll go weiter. Uh, we'll go weiter to verse 65. We go to Roy.
V'yomer hatira shosa lahem asher lo yachalu mikdesh hakadoshim ad amod hakohen lo rim v'sumim and Hatirashasa said to them that they should not eat of the most holy sacrifices until a priest arises for the Urim and the Tumim.
Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning. Shavua Tov.
Shavua Tov U'Mavorach. We just Roy just got through reading Pasuk Samach Hey, and we translated it.
Not yet.
Okay.
Oh, yes, we translate it now.
Yeah, we
Okay.
translated it, but we haven't said any notes on it. We translated it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Hatir Shasta said to them that they should not eat of the most holy sacrifices until a priest arises for the Urim and the Tumim. That's the only way they're going to tell who's who. I suppose.
What's that? I didn't get that.
I suppose it says that they shouldn't eat of the holy sacrifices. That means that they can't do their Kohanim bit until the priest rises for the Urim and Tumim. So they need to have someone qualified, recognizably qualified, to use the Urim and Tumim. And that's probably how they're going to, the only way maybe, that they're going to tell who's a Cohen and who isn't.
Yes.
Asking the stones.
Okay, so very good. So we have a lot of commentary over here on this pasuk, Samach Hey. So first of all, who is the one who the pasuk calls Hatir Shasa? Who's Tir Shasa? So Mitsudis identifies Tir Shasa as Nehemia. He was Tir Shasa because Tir Shasa comes from the words Hitir Shaso. He's the permitter to drink. He was the king's Sarhamashkim, I guess you could say. And that entailed that he would be required to taste the wine to ensure that the king would not be poisoned. What about Nehemia? Hashem Yazor. Now, this, of course, creates a big question. How could Nehemia, the one of the Gedolei Ador, drink non-Jewish wine? Even the most simplest Jew wouldn't do such a thing. Although the rabbis decreed that wine touched by a non-Jew, and we call that stam yenam, may not be drunk, they granted special permission. The Rabbanan granted special, at that time, they granted special permission to Nehemia to be able to drink the king's wine. Since his refusal to do so would have aroused the king's suspicion. And of course, when the king suspects a person, then that's the end of that person, off with his head. So we spoke about this before. And different sources observe that this rabbinic decree was legislated by Daniel, who was a senior contemporary of Nehemia. So there we have it.
I've got, we're coming up to it now in 8, Nehemia 8, Pasuk 9. Then Nehemia, he is Hatishata, and Ezra the priest, the scholar of the Levites who calls the people, so on. So here we're told that Nehemia is Hatishata.
Right.
We're coming to that.
Right. Oh, right. Somehow over there we see we're going to see that this is so. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now the next. So that's one issue that the pasuk touched upon. The next issue that the pasuk touched upon is the issue of the Urim Betumim. Because Tishasa told these individuals that they should not eat from the korbanos. Specifically, he said mikodesh hakedoshim. So one would wonder if they're not a Kohen, also from the kochim kalim as well. It's two different types. Let's take a look. What's the idea about the kochim over here? So the Mitsudis brings a Gemara in Kedushin that interprets this as a reference to Truma. Oh, okay. So it's not even talking about Korbanos.
Excuse me, I'm shifting to another room. But
Okay. Okay, so this expression we see in the pasuk Mikodesh HaKadoshim is referring to truma, and of course truma is also only for Kohanim to eat. Serious penalty. Anyone who's not a Kohen that eats truma. So it's taken from the produce of Eretz Yisrael, specifically to be given to a Kohen. And also kochim is be'ach. Okay, so kochim is be'ach refers specifically to the things that are kodesh that come from the mizbeach, from the altar. So that's talking about the korbanos brought in the Beis Hamikdash. So Kohanim who have proved their yichus as Kohanim and are kosher are commanded to eat certain portions of the korbanos, but those who were now disqualified, like we see in this pasuk over here, they were not allowed to partake from the korbanos until Amod HaKohen Le'urim Betumim, until there will be a Kohen who will get up to the Urim Betumim. What does this mean? So now we have what is the Urim Betumim? Urim Betumim is the name in the Torah for the parchment that bears the ineffable name of Hashem that was inserted into the Choshen that's worn by the Kohen Gadol. And when they would seek a divine revelation, they would consult the Urim Betumim, and it would cause certain letters on the Choshen to illuminate, and it would spell out a prophetic message. So these Kohanim in this pasuk, they were told by Nehemia not to eat from the Kodshei Kodshim, not from the Truma, not from the Korbanos either, until the Kohen Gadol of the Urim Betumim would clarify their status. So he would request a divine revelation as to the nature of their ancestry, and then would and that would be answered by the Urim Betumim. So a little bit more about the Urim Betumim. It was lost to the Jewish people when the first temple was destroyed, and it was not restored during the times of the second temple. So there was no Urim Betumim in this Bayis Sheni. Clearly then the statement, until there would arise a Kohen to the Urim Betumim, refers to the Gula Shlema, is in Yemos HaMashiach, when the third Beis HaMikdash will be rebuilt. And then we will have the Urim Betumim to be restored. And the Kohanim who could not identify their ancestors were in effect told that their status would be clarified only at the time of the Gula Shlema. That's what the pasuk is saying.
So
Yeah.
So that means that those who are there now will be still won't be clarified, be their descendants.
What's that?
Those who are now, who are alive now, won't be alive at the time of the Gula Shalema, but their descendants will be Metz Hashem.
Oh,
okay. And they're the ones that will be identified or not as Kohanim.
Yeah, I mean the ones that will be alive at that time when the korbanos from the third Beis HaMikdash will be brought. So those Kohanim, their proof of their status will be verified by the Urim Betumim.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mizrat Hashem could happen any day. Could happen any day.
Now.
Mizrat Hashem. Okay, so that completes this section of the list of all of the individuals. So now we go to Pasuk Samech Vav. We go to Meir.
Okay, Samech Vav. It says, Kol HaKahal Ke'echad Arba Ribo Al Hayim Shalosh Meot V'Shishim. Okay, so the entire congregation together numbered 42,360. Let's see. Kol hakahal be'echad, ke'echad, the entire congregation together, literally as one. This refers to everyone, Israelites, Kohanim, Levites, Netininim, and the children of Solomon's slaves. Metsudo. Araribot al Payim Shalosh Meyot V'Shishim, 42,360. The sum total of the family members enumerated in this chapter falls far short of this number. Mitsudo, quoting Seder Olam 29, explains that only the members of the tribes of Judah and Benjamin are listed by name. 13,000 members of other tribes also went up to the Holy Land with them, but are not named or enumerated. The 13,000 unlisted immigrants brought the total to 42,360.
Wow.
Ralbag remarks that the total given here by Nehemiah coincides with the number recorded in Ezra chapter 2, verse 64. This number surely changed as a result of the births and deaths that took place from the days of the first immigration until the times of Nehemiah. This change is reflected in the statistics recorded here for individual families. However, the original total was retained here to conform with the opening phrase, verse 6, recorded in Nehemiah. These are the people of the country who ascended from the captivity of exile, those who went up from the diaspora during the first immigration totaled 42,360.
Okay, so this is very interesting, and a number of interesting things over here. That according to Seder Olam, the this number 42,360 includes 13,000 unlisted immigrants, meaning we didn't mention them in the psukim because we're saying that only from the Shevet Yudah and Binyamin were listed by name over here in these psukim, which of course brings rise to a question: why were their names left out? But so that'll be a question. But that's what the facts are over here, according to this note. And then we're saying that this total of 42,360 is exactly the same number as the number recorded in Ezra, and we're saying that that's very hard to believe because that was a number of years. This one was a number of years after that one, and certainly there must have been changes that took place. Okay, so they give some type of an explanation over here. I didn't really follow it. It was a bit hard to understand, but okay, yeah. There's a few things that yeah. Okay, in other words, the the second wave of immigration that came up from Bavel, we're not even listing those numbers. The only numbers we're listing are the original ones that came up in the time of Ezra, and they're being recorded here by Nehemia. But the ones that came up in the second wave of immigration, we're not mentioning how many those were. That's how I'm understanding it. In other words, we know that Nehemia himself went up uh, later on, and he took people as well. People came up with him as well. But we're not listing how many was in that wave of immigration. Okay, all right. We go to the next pasuk, Samach Zion. Back to Lou. Lou, are you there?
I am here.
Okay. Would you like to read pasuk Samach Zion?
Samech Zion. Turn the page. Samech Zion. Milvad Avdehem V'am Hosehem Ele Shiv'as Alafim Shalosh Me'os Shaloshim V'Shiv'ah V'lahem Mishorim Umeshorim Ma'sayim V'Arba'im V'Chamisha. Okay, so the translation: besides their male slaves and female slaves, of which there were 7,337, they also had 245 male singers and female singers. Commentary: the male singers and the female singers, the singers performed during the journey, which was conducted with great rejoicing, according to Malbim.
Wow.
245 from Ezra. Ezra 265 lists 200 singers, and 45 additional singers were children at the time of the immigration described in Ezra, and were therefore included with the 200 adults. By Nehemiah's time, these children had grown to maturity and were counted separately, according to Mitsudos.
Wow, interesting. So the journey from Bavel to Eretz Yisrael was like a party. They were involved in great rejoicing that they're able to come up to Eretz Yisrael.
This was after the wall was completed?
Oh, when was this? When did this take place? Here, I believe. Yeah, I know it's not really so clear. You really have to you have to really understand these psukim, but they don't lay it out so clearly. But it seems that this was from the original wave of immigration in the time of Ezra that we were talking. In other words, the first immigration of Jews from Bavel to Eretz Yisrael in the time of Ezra, and so a time of rejoicing is a time for song, and so therefore they had singers that were they must have been professional singers that they were Doesn't say anything about who they were, whether they were Jewish or wasn't Jewish. I don't know, but they were they're not included. In other words, they're not included. They're together with the they're not included in the 42,360. So it sounds like they weren't. If they were Jews, why should they not be included? Just because they were singer, that shouldn't disqualify them. So it seems like they got singers from other nations. It's kind of hard to understand. Why would they want to hear songs from people who are not Jewish? Doesn't make any sense. Okay, I mean, I guess we do know that we were told that the 13,000 were not listed. Well, there was 13,000 that were not listed in the psukim according to their family because they were not from Judah or Benjamin, which, by the way, is very interesting. In other words, those were Jews from different shvatim, and that would mean, you know what that means? That means that these people were people who were they were not exiled by Sencheriv in the exile of the 10 tribes in the latter half of the first Beis Hamikdash. I remember that when we were learning the Navi at the time, there were a number of Jews who saw what was going on with the 10 tribes that Yeravim ben Nevat was taking them down the road of Avodah Zarah and all of that, and they didn't want any part of it, and they ran away. They gave up their home, they gave up their land in the Seres HaShvatim land, and they went to live in Chelik of Yehuda ben Yamin. I guess they rented because they didn't own any property over there, and whatever. So we see that maybe that's what, maybe these people are the 13,000 that don't come from Yehuda ben Yamin, but nevertheless they also were participated in the first wave of Aliyah to Eretz Yisrael. But these other categories, male slaves and female slaves and the singers, they're not even counted in that number of 42,360. So I guess that these singers are the, I don't know exactly what their identity is. Okay. Interesting. So we're going to go to Pasuk Samaches. We have time? Yeah, still have time. Back to Roy.
Sotachem Shara Mayos Shaloshim Shisho Pirdehem Masayim Arba'im V'chamisha. So their horses were 730, their mules were 245.
Horses?
We have donkeys.
Says Gemalim in the Pasuk.
I've got here Susayhem Sheva Meo Shaloshim V'shisho Pirdehem Measayim Arbaim v'chamisha.
Oh, I see. Look at this. There seems to be a bit of a difference of opinion about what's contained in this pasuk.
Wow.
You see these two circles over here? They go down below the line, and it mentions over there Susehem. Susehem is their horses. Shvameos ushloshim v'shisha irdehem. Their mules. Masayim arbaim v'chamisha. Okay. So maybe we're going to have something about that. Samach. Do we have anything? Oh no, we don't have anything in that pasuk.
Huh. Oh, I see. It's two circles. Oh, okay.
See those two circles at the end of the second line from the top?
Yeah.
The end of pasuk Samach Zayin.
Now I see it.
It says B'ksas Sforim, Achar pasuk Samach Zayin, in a certain portion of Sforim, or maybe it means in a small portion of Sforim. In other words, manuscripts that in which scribes wrote down the Sefer Nehemia. So it's recorded these additional words to pasuk Samach Ches. But it seems as though our text is not to include those words. Okay.
That's great.
Okay, very good. Okay, so there's no comment on it. So what should we say? There's actually Metzudas Sion, Diramastil Pir Dehem. And Metzudas Sion, he's the one that translates words and defines what words mean. Heim haboim min asus v'achamor. These animals, they are a cross breed with a sus, a horse, and a chamor, a donkey, and you call it a mule, right?
Yep, that's what it seems. Wow.
Okay. So it would seem that the Metzudas Sion does have this text. So he's commenting on it, because in our pasuk we don't have anything about Pir Dehem. We just have Gemalim and we have Hamurim. That's all we got. Donkeys and camels. Okay. So now we have time.
No,
One more pasuk.
okay.
The mayor with a quick reading of pasuk Samach Tes.
Okay, Samach Tet. Umiktzat Rashi Ha'avot Natnu Milacha Hatirshata Natan Laotzar Zahav Darchamonin Elef Mizrakot Chamishim Katonot Kohanim Shloshim v'chamesh me'ot. Some of the family heads contributed for the work. Hatirshata contributed to the treasury of gold 1,000 golden darkimons and 50 basins, and priestly robes 530. Okay. So it says, let's see, some of the family heads contributed to the work. Mitsudo identifies donations as those recorded in Ezra, 61,000 golden darkimons and 5,000 silver manes toward the cost of the building of the temple, and 100 tunics for the Kohanim. Natan La'otzer contributed to the treasury. Hatrishata's donation is not mentioned in Ezra because it was given now during the period covered in the book of Nehemiah. When Nehemiah, Hatrishata, recounted his discovery of the book of lineage, he recorded his donation together with the contributions made by the family heads during Ezra's time. Katnot Kohanim, the priestly robes. The robes were to be worn by the Kohanim during the temple service, the Mitzudot. Brings us to time.
Okay, so that's the Nehemiah's discovery of this book of lineage, which he's listing over here. Everything that we said so far. Okay, very good. Everybody have a wonderful day, especially Mayor, because
Thank
we're
you.
not going to see you in the next year.
No.
All the best. Have a wonderful week, and we'll be back soon. Bezrat Hashem.
Okay. Shavua
Okay.
Tov.
Thank you,
Good
Rabbi.
talk, Maria.
Shavua
Shavua
Tov.
Tov,
Have a
boy.
good day, Mayor.
You too, Blue. Actually, good question.